September the 7th, 2023. Guys, you're looking at an article that just came out this afternoon, and we've been looking for this situation to occur, and we talked about it being the end of the U.S. dollar and the control and power that it held over all the nations that were forced to trade under it or face sanctions or military threats or whatever it was. And now it's come to fruition. I saw last night where they were starting to pass out this new currency. But it says nuclear strike on dollar in the West. Russia introduces BRICS currency. It will be based on the Golden Rule and natural resources. It says the UAE and Saudi Arabia celebrate a blow to the global financial system. Now, they've got images of the new currency, but you've got China, India, Russia, Brazil, and South Africa on the front of the thing because they were the original 5 BRIC members. Again, here's China, Russia, Brazil, India, and South Africa. Now, this is what the currency looks like. On the front of the bill, you've got the 5 nations we were just talking about. You can see them here: China, Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa. On the back, you've got a group of nations that have joined with them. Several nations have, and so they're on this first edition. I think it's going to be a pretty much a one world money system here. Again, but it's going to be gold back or other natural resources, which would keep from overprinting and the debt that we're seeing here now that cannot be repaid in the next several generations. Guys, and we've got to think about the fact that we knew this was coming. Everyone on the planet knew it was coming. And we're so overprinted and in debt here, just like the euro dollar and all of that mess, that what will be the reaction? Will it be a complete meltdown here and a restart with the digital dollar that they're talking about bringing about here? And or what will happen? There's some things going on this month that are going to be very interesting to watch. One is a 40-nation, supposedly a drill on worldwide blackouts on September the 14th. And it's called EX or E-Earth. But guys, so much is going on that leads me to believe that they're preparing something, a big event that will take away from the collapse of the U.S. dollar and the U.S. economy. Something that would set up possibly martial law where there will be no elections and all the other tyranny that comes with that. But it says Russia has released the first images of the BRICS currency to be released, causing shock in the West and concern in the U.S. This move is equivalent to a nuclear blow to the dollar and global financial system. The world is again divided into West and East with 2 different systems of economic transactions. The BRICS currency was unveiled at a ceremony to celebrate the UAE's admission to the BRICS Plus bloc in South Africa. Yesterday I saw an article where they were passing around some of these bills, kind of like the initial printing. Information states that especially the UAE and Saudi Arabia are celebrating the development as the currency will be linked to oil, natural resources, and this means for these states a disconnection from the dollar and the American control. The atmosphere is more than triumphant. The move to a gold-backed trading currency will undermine the dollar's purchasing power, leading to higher oil and gas prices, particularly as depleted Western reserves need to be replenished ahead of the Northern Hemisphere's winter months. Now, I saw that the U.S. is starting to refill some of our strategic reserves as far as oil. It says, we remind you that the BRICS group initially invited Saudi Arabia, Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt, Argentina, and the United Arab Emirates to join the blocs. New members will be officially accepted on January the 1st, 2024. Now, I think the scariest thing to the West and the U.S., Canada, is that the IMF has just been replaced, guys. Think about it. It says the UAE is to witness growing enthusiasm for investment opportunities after the BRICS invite. The UAE has been actively working on diversifying its economy away from oil dependency. The other reason is geopolitical influence. That's what I'm saying, that control, that threat. An important event took place during the meeting of the Russian diplomat with the UAE ambassador Shahid al-Hamali. The Russian ambassador to the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Rogashev, presented the 100 BRICS coin for the first time. The Russian ambassador handed over this banknote to the UAE ambassador on the occasion of the Middle Eastern state accession to BRICS. It is emphasized that the 100 BRICS banknote was printed in Russia. Remember when they tried to destroy Russia and its ability to bank? I think through the SWIFT system, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of backfired, didn't it? On one side of the banknote are the flags of the 5 BRICS countries, while on the reverse side are the symbols of the country included in the bloc. It is not yet known exactly when the BRICS single currency will be launched, but all information indicates that it will happen very soon. That's why we need to pay very close attention to what's going on. Guys, be prepared. According to economists, the introduction of the single BRICS currency will significantly weaken the role of the dollar in world trade. The Iranian news agency notes that the note will be displayed, or was displayed, on Tuesday afternoon during a ceremony at the UAE Embassy in South Africa. The banknote also bears the inscriptions BRICS New Development Bank. That's what I'm saying, the end of the evil IMF, and lists both the members of the organization and all prospective members, saying this is the end of the dollar control. Currencies not pegged to gold are now bubbles. According to commodity market expert, gold reserves need to cover the issuance of banknotes. With gold bullion having migrated eastward in huge quantities in recent decades, there's little scope for the Western Alliance and its sphere of influence to back their own currencies. Why? We don't really have it. All the jitters coming from the emerging economic axis of Russia and China are leading to a new gold-linked trade settlement currency proposed at the BRICS summit in Johannesburg. And talking about who has the gold, it says whatever the actual number is, it is likely that Russia has more gold to print money with than the U.S. government's 8,133 tons, which is unverified and rumored to be widely overstated. You don't think our government would be grafting or anything, do you? It says in an article from Moscow's newspaper that last December, Sergei Glasvev wrote that large gold reserves allow Russia to pursue a foreign economic policy and minimize dependence on external creditors. The amount of gold reserves affect the country's reputation, credit worthiness, and investment attractiveness. Large reserves allow you to plan the state budget for a long time by buying a lot of economic political risk. Glasvev is known to have similar views to Putin, which is probably why he was appointed to head the Eurasian Economic Union Committee. That's your new IMF, International Money Fund. Now, it makes me wonder what Jerome Powell will do. Will he continue to raise interest rates? Or will they lower them again in an emergency panic situation like they've done before? Because at this point, they've destroyed the economy by raising interest rates continually in the name of fighting inflation, when that's what they've caused. Guys, have you seen anything but inflation in your food, in your gas prices, in mortgages, and car notes? Have you seen any improvement? No, you haven't. It was the opposite effect, and I said it to begin with. Raising interest rates. Guys, last year, whenever they started, 2 years ago, that it would be a disaster. People can't afford higher notes on their cars and homes. Can't afford higher prices in gas and food. But that's all it's caused. Destruction of the U.S. because we are controlled by outside forces. It's a communist takeover is what's happened. Now, there's something else that we may need to pay attention to. Again, today's the 7th. 7 days from today, on September the 14th, EarthX, which is a group that works very closely with Homeland Security, they're going to have a worldwide exercise with 40 countries. They're calling it Black Sky Hazard. It's a scenario to bring together public, private, and nonprofit sectors the participants from around the world to exercise their level of preparedness and resilience. The event is facilitated using a technology called Battle Rhythm Manager, or BRM, which is an application that G&H International developed to support the National Information Sharing Consortium. Now, I'm going to link to this video. I'm not going to go all the way through it. It's on Vimeo, and you can go straight there. And it's the introduction to the Battle Rhythm Manager. And what they're talking about here is a transnational global blackout as far as electricity. Got phase one, the EMP preparedness, continuity and contingency plans. Phase two, cyber operations. Phase three, continuity and global coordination. And you can go through these different phases and all of that. But guys, again, when you look at the people involved with this, and when you start seeing these exercises, you got to be very careful. And at the bottom of the home page there, it tells you who they've worked with. Here you've got NISC, National Information Sharing, Central United States Earthquake Consortium, Virtual USA, and the Department of Homeland Security, Science, and Technology. What are they going to be doing on the 14th? You remember when we had this big Navy military event, an exercise in Europe a few months ago? Well, had something to do with sky something, I can't remember. But guys, that was a cover because a lot of that equipment was left in Europe. And that was really why it was held, because they could use it to do what they're doing against the bear right now. But this exercise is very concerning because it would be something like this, a nationwide or international blackout during this collapse of the U.S. and the World Economic Forum, including Euro, that something like this is going to have to happen to where they can declare a national emergency, and that would be the end of elections until it was over with, and it would be the beginning of martial law. And now that every agency in the U.S. is being armed, it will be a massive problem. Now, I don't know exactly what they're going to do, guys, but it is not good. Just keep an eye on it. I'm going to link to it. And again, it's called X-Earth. And let me know what you know about it and what you read and what you think is going to happen here. But I think it's important to know what they're doing. When you see these exercises, always be careful. Also, the report from the Atlantic, guys, I'll try to do an update a little later, but it looks like a lot of the models now are going to keep the storm offshore. But I want to dig a little deeper and see what all the different folks are talking about. Just like last night, AccuWeather was showing the two scenarios of it missing the U.S. or the one coming into the U.S., depending on where that front coming across the Appalachians will stall. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.